And now we bring you a brand new portrait of 21st century college cheating. We took note of a young man who had written an open letter to the Chronicle of Higher Education, admitting he had earned thousands of dollars writing other people's papers, future doctors, lawyers, even teachers. We tracked him down, and tonight he talks for the first time to David Muir in a World News investigation.
This young man is relieved to know finals will soon be over, the college papers, the thesis projects. After all, he has spent 10 years writing them for other students who pay him.
What's the most you've been paid to write a paper?
A 175-page accounting paper, that paid me $2,000.
A lot of folks would say $2,000 is a good chunk of change.
Indeed, indeed.
We've agreed to alter his voice and call him Ed to conceal his identity. And Ed is not alone. This is 21st century cheating, the outsourcing of college work.
Hey there, what's up? Do you really want to spend countless days and nights stuck working on your homework? Yeah, neither did I.
There are companies out there that do this.
Thousands.
And it's perfectly legal.
It is. I pay taxes.
In fact, there are thousands of writers hard at work on finals right now. They're just not the ones actually in school.
You say you've written toward a master's degree in cognitive psychology?
Indeed.
A PhD in sociology?
Mm-hmm.
Business administration? Pharmacology? Maritime security?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever go to a public library to do any research for these papers?
Absolutely not. I Google everything. Everything is Googleable.
By some estimates, nearly 70% of college students say they've cheated. We turned to the honors program at Hofstra University, where we asked 5 professors with experienced eyes if we ordered a paper for one of their exams, could they tell the difference? We pay extra for a rush job, $340 for a paper on ancient literature. And we hand it in along with other papers actually written by students at Hofstra.
So all 3 of these papers look like papers you would get?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Was there one paper, if you had to guess, that would be the one that was paid for? You say?
Paper C? I would have said paper C.
C.
B.
A. Good.
It was A. Just one professor picked it out. And even so, she admitted this.
This paper, I mean, what would I do? I'd grade it.
Because there's nothing about it that says...
There's nothing about it that I can prove.
In fact, one of the professors actually put the paper through scanning software used by so many universities that looks for plagiarism. The results?
Everything here is correct.
Another paper passing muster, which is why ghostwriters like Ed will continue to get those desperate emails like this one from students.
This customer says, where you are, can you get my messages? Please, I pay a lot and don't have to fail. I straighted to get very wary.
I'm curious, where are the parents in all this?
Oftentimes right alongside the student. They are paying for the student's paper.
We met Gene, now a sophomore, who used the allowance from his mother to pay for his work.
I've ordered multiple papers online.
Are you okay with yourself doing that?
Yeah, I was 100% okay with it. I know at least 10 people that do it.
10?
At least 10.
How much did you make this year?
I was on pace to make $66,000.
You've stopped writing?
I have.
Do you wish you had not done it at all?
Absolutely not. I don't know if anybody in the world would trade the kind of education that I've had.
And the one kid used the allowance, his mother's allowance.
Cheaters never prosper. That's if universities and colleges can catch them. The results of a recent Canadian survey show that cheaters are disciplined by the thousands, but many more continue to go unnoticed. Past survey results have shown that around 50% of students have admitted to cheating in some form or another. Plagiarism is charged in over half of all cases.
Our teachers taught us sharing is caring, but they probably weren't referring to test answers.
An entire class at Anderson High School was caught cheating. The teacher knew that something was wrong when everybody got a perfect score on the test.
Because everyone's suddenly getting 100%? Not suspicious at all. A major lack of common sense aside, the plan does show how easy it is to cheat with today's technology. WWJ-TV reports 2 juniors at Anderson High School in Southgate, Michigan, admitted to taking cell phone photos of their answer key while their teacher was in the hall. They then shared the information through a group text.
Just because you can take a picture with your cell phone of anything that you want, it doesn't mean that it's a good idea.
The most immediate punishment, while everyone else is enjoying enjoying summer break, the entire class has to come back and retake the test. The school superintendent said further consequences will depend on each student's history of misconduct, and suspensions in the fall are a possibility.
Now to the school cheating scandal that is gripping the city of Atlanta. A former superintendent and 34 for employees accused of an elaborate scheme to fake test scores. 3 of them already turning themselves in this morning. And ABC's Steve Osunsami has the very latest from Atlanta. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, Amy. These are school principals, teachers, test coordinators, even a school secretary, and they all have to turn themselves into the jail today. Early this morning, the first of many mugshots. Tamika Goodson, a school improvement specialist, turning herself in, brought down by the huge cheating scandal rocking Atlanta.
As a parent that wants the best for their child, I'm very disappointed.
The same teachers and school administrators who were bragging just a few years ago about double-digit improvements in standardized test results, now charged with racketeering, theft, and false statements, and they've lawyered up. At one school, investigators say the principal and his teachers held after-school parties where they sat around and corrected tests before turning them in to be graded.
The financial terms were a motivation all across the board.
The indictments read like a rap on the mob, and the boss is former Atlanta School Superintendent Beverly Hall, who could see up to 45 years in prison if convicted. She's one of the few expected to spend the night in jail. Her bond could be set as high as $7.5 million. She's accused of firing teachers who couldn't produce higher test scores, giving bonuses to those who did, and ignoring clear signs that teachers were cheating to make the scores happen. She and other accused educators are shouting their innocence.
I am actually considered a criminal for doing the best I can for children all my life.
When the going was good, Superintendent Hall was a hero. She earned more than $500,000 in bonuses and was named a National Superintendent of the Year. The Atlanta newspaper that broke the story looked across the country and found 196 school districts with equally suspicious scores.
No one wants to hear that those improving test scores aren't for real.
Many teachers across this region blame the troubles here on No Child Left Behind, those federally mandated tests and the scores that measure schools.
Please, you can't bend the rules just once.
Is it a possible case of life imitating art?
Do you know the team could use some new batting helmets?
You asking for a bribe?
You pretending you're above that?
I got my checkbook.
Felicity Huffman's character bribing her son's baseball coach in an episode of Desperate Housewives. Now, the Emmy Award-winning actress is one of dozens of parents embroiled in the largest alleged college admissions cheating scam ever prosecuted.
The FBI uncovered what we believe is a rigged system.
We may have, well, he may have embellished, lied a bit on our application.
Also indicted, Lori Loughlin, the star of Full House, and her husband, Massimo Giannulli, the fashion designer worth millions.
We believe everyone charged here today had a role in fostering a culture of corruption and greed that created an uneven playing field for students trying to get into these schools the right way through hard work, good grades, and community service.
Bombshell allegations implicating 33 rich and powerful parents who are collectively accused of doling out over $25 million to this man, William Rick Singer, who helped their kids get into some of the nation's most elite colleges, from Stanford to Yale to Georgetown.
Unfortunately, what many students didn't know was that the odds had already been stacked against them by corrupt practices.
Dubbed Operation Varsity Blues, the U.S. attorney saying the investigation uncovering widespread bribes to exam officials to cheat on standardized tests and paying off coaches for athletic slots, even staging photos for students who never even played the sport.
In one example, the head women's soccer coach at Yale, in exchange for $400,000, accepted an applicant as a recruit for the Yale women's team, despite knowing that the applicant did not even play competitive soccer. These parents are a catalog of wealth and privilege. For every student admitted through fraud, an honest, genuinely talented student was rejected.
The reaction swift all over social media today. This Twitter user saying, "I've been holding my daughter's hand through frustration and tears these past 6 months as she's been working her tail off to get a decent ACT score," while another noting the disparity in how students of color and low-income students are viewed at elite schools. Quote, "While so many wealthy students have their parents essentially buy their way into these schools and rarely experience the same skepticism." For Felicity Huffman, it started here this morning. Authorities arresting her at her Hollywood Hills home, accused of paying $15,000 to get her oldest daughter a better score on the SATs.
Felicity Huffman was inside this federal building right here. She had to appear before the judge. Her husband, actor William H. Macy, in the front row. They did eventually post a bond of $250,000, the judge stating that she has an estate worth $20 million.
Lachlan is currently in Canada and has a warrant for her arrest upon her return to the U.S., charged with the same felony as Huffman, conspiracy to commit mail fraud. Her husband appearing in federal court in Los Angeles today.
You know, Oprah once said the worst thing anybody can have happen to them is public humiliation. And that's exactly what's happening to these two families right now.
Is that part of the message that the Justice Department is sending?
100%. They sent a very strong message.
The couple allegedly paid $500,000 in bribes in order to get their two daughters, Isabella and Olivia, admitted into the University of Southern California as recruits for the school's crew team, despite the fact that neither participated in that sport. As part of the effort, Massimo allegedly emailing a photo of older daughter Isabella on a stationary rowing machine.
If you were the parent of a kid who didn't get into USC, and Lori Laughlin's kid did get in, you're really not very happy right now.
I don't know why I'm so comfortable vlogging in public right now. I think because I'm with Bella.
Both girls appeared to be attending USC as of last fall, when Olivia posted this video of the two on campus together. USC says it's now conducting an internal investigation, releasing a statement saying in part, USC has not been accused of any wrongdoing and will continue to cooperate fully with the government's investigation. 19-year-old Olivia is a social media influencer who's known as Olivia Jade to her 2 million subscribers on her YouTube channel. She created a stir over her comments on heading to college in this video post last summer.
I do want the experience of like game days, partying. I don't really care about school, as you guys all know.
Olivia ended up apologizing to her followers, saying she is grateful for her education. The scheme, prosecutors say, involved more than just parents.
They uncovered this alleged scheme with the help of 3 key people. You've got Singer, you've got someone who used to be an prep director for this kind of testing, and you got the former coach of a Yale soccer team.
Investigators say Singer funneled bribes through a fake college counseling nonprofit called The Key.
This enabled the parents to not only mask the true nature of the payment, but also take the tax write-off at the end of the year.
It's a complete shell company, but it's used quite often in cases where they're trying to either launder money or funnel money, or in this case, actually use that money as bribe payments. The fact that they actually used it to allow tax deductions for these families, these parents, it almost adds insult to injury. It's pretty amazing.
Singer pled guilty today to racketeering conspiracy, money laundering conspiracy, conspiracy to defraud the U.S., and obstruction of justice.
We know he's pled guilty, and that's dangerous for everyone else involved. And some would say, well, why would prosecutors make a deal with the guy who's at the top of the pyramid? The answer may be that prosecutors don't believe he's the top of the pyramid, that maybe it's the parents who are the more culpable ones here.
According to his bio, Singer is a father and coach with residences in Sacramento and Newport Beach, California, where The Key is based. In 2014, he published a book titled Getting In, Gaining Admission to the College of Your Choice. But the DOJ says Singer was actually a criminal mastermind who created a meticulously curated sham to cater to the privileged and powerful.
What Singer was good at doing was calibrating the fake credentials to appear realistic and not so impressive as to invite suspicion or additional scrutiny.
It was a year-long investigation that started with a tip from a completely separate case.
Normally, when you see bribes that involve hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, that means it's usually a bribe in furtherance of something that's worth a lot more than that. It's staggering to think that there's parents that are willing to pay that amount of money to get their child into university.
Some students allegedly knew what their parents were doing, while others seemed not to. Many of the students, allegedly admitted through false pretenses, are still enrolled at their school. But investigators say the students themselves are not being charged with any crimes.
You will see instances where it's important to parents that their child not know that this had occurred. And in that kind of instance, the student would actually go and take the exam, and someone working for Singer would come in afterward, correct enough of the answers, submit the exam.
Huffman and her Emmy Award-winning husband, actor William H. Macy, who was not charged, allegedly agreed to the plan that involved arranging to get their daughter extra time to take the SAT. When her daughter's high school arranged to proctor the exam, Huffman allegedly emailing Singer, "Ruh-roh, looks like my daughter's high school wants to provide own proctor," to which Singer responded, "We will speak about it." Huffman's daughter allegedly going on to score a 1420 on the SAT, a 400-point improvement over her PSAT. Investigators say Huffman and Macy discussed but ultimately declined to repeat the cheating scheme for their younger daughter.
Lori Loughlin is in more legal jeopardy in terms of sentence than is Felicity Huffman because she allegedly did it twice and paid $500,000. Felicity Huffman alleged to have done it once, $15,000. The amount of money matters.
This is not a case where parents were acting in the best interests of their children. This is a case where they flaunted their wealth, sparing no expense, to cheat the system so they could set their children up for success with the best education money could buy.
The deck is wildly stacked against low-income kids and many working class and middle class kids. They don't have SAT prep. They may have one counselor per every 1,000 kids.
Investigators say they're actively looking for other parents and coaches that may be involved in the scam, and also saying the schools themselves are currently not targets. Many schools taking swift action today, suspending or firing the coaches of athletic teams allegedly involved in the scam. Some schools, including USC, University of Texas, and Yale, saying they're victims in this scam.
I think the real victims are people who should have gotten into school who didn't, whose families struggled hard to save money and get their kids to the best college they could.
And there's this belief that I got to do whatever I got to do for my kid. And I get that, but you know, part of what we're trying to shift is parents to think about, yeah, I have to do what's best for my kids, but I also have a deep responsibility to other people's kids.
Well-intentioned or not, prosecutors say they're sending a message that elite education shouldn't be an entitlement. It's something that's earned, fair and square.
There can be no separate college admission system for the wealthy, and I'll add that there will not be a separate criminal justice system either.
This past September, a 19-year-old college student named Sam Eshigoff made national news when he was arrested and charged with fraud and criminal impersonation. His crime was taking the SAT and ACT tests for other people. He was so good at it, other students paid him thousands of dollars to take the exams for them. The district attorney who charged him says Sam Eshigoff was able to take the SATs at least 16 times, which has raised questions about the integrity and security surrounding one of the most important tests millions of high school students ever take. Tonight, for the first time, Sam Eshigoff tells us how and why he did it.
I thought that there was an easy way to make money. And just like any other easy way to make money, it's always too good to be true.
Who told you you were in trouble?
My parents got a phone call saying that there was a warrant for my arrest, which was scary and shameful. I felt like my world was going to come crashing down.
Until he was arrested in September, Sam Eshigoff seemed like the perfect kid. At New York's Great Neck North High School, he was a top student, vice president of the business club, and a varsity athlete. But what may have been his greatest talent was the one that got him in trouble: his ability to ace standardized tests, which was how he began a double life as a con man.
I would call him an academic gun for hire. That's what he was.
People just needed him to get a job done, and he got it done.
And he was the man.
Nassau County District Attorney Kathleen Rice filed criminal charges against Eshigoff and the students who hired him.
This was a huge fraud from my perspective. This was lots of money exchanging hands. There were high stakes involved, and there was forgery, there was criminal impersonation. That's a fraud. It's a fraud on many different levels, but most importantly, against the kids who play by the rules.
During the course of the investigation, what did you discover about the process of taking the SAT and the security associated with taking an SAT test?
How incredibly easy it is to cheat the system. There is absolutely no security in place whatsoever to prevent criminal impersonation like we see here from happening.
So if I went up to any one of those kids and I say, do you know what this guy did? They'd all know?
Every single person would know who I am and what I do.
Eshigoff says paid test takers were an open secret among students at Great Neck North. He became the best known, but he says he was not the first.
I had heard of it happening successfully in my own high school.
So tell me about taking the mental leap from, well, I heard other kids are doing it, to, I think I'm going to do this.
Well, it all started with some kid approaching me, and he's like, yo, you're good on your SATs, and I'm not. And you know this is possible, so how much is it going to take?
Here's how he did it. It was as simple as making a high school ID, one of 6 forms of identification accepted at SAT testing centers.
A school ID is what is that? It's some colors with literally a name and a picture on it. So what I would do is I took the template for my high school ID, pasted my picture on top of it, and whatever person's name whose test I was taking, I would have their name and date of birth on it. And it was really as easy as that.
No social security number, no driver's license, no passport.
Name and date of birth.
On a little piece of plastic.
On a little piece of plastic that got laminated once.
Fake ID in hand, and with a bad case of nerves, Eshigoff began his lucrative career.
As soon as I took that first test and I went in and I killed it. Like, I got my first time ever taking the test for somebody else, I got a perfect score in the math section. It was like, whoa, that was easy, and that was great, and I'm good at this.
It was clockwork from there. Over the course of nearly 3 years, he took the SAT over and over again, consistently scoring in the 97th percentile or higher for the students he called his clients.
I mean, my track record speaks for itself. Like, if you know somebody's so stellar at doing something so flawlessly, without one exception, it goes without saying that's a reliable service.
Were you invested at all in the score you would get?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just like any other business person, like, you want to have a good track record, right? And essentially, like, my whole clientele were based on word of mouth and like a referral system.
If that sounds outrageous, it's because his high scores and his clients' money trumped right and wrong. At the height of his business, Eshigoff was able to charge as much as $2,500 per test. One very satisfied customer gave him an $1,100 tip.
A lot of times I would actually even induce a bidding war between 2 potential clients, have them like fight against each other for who was going to pay me more.
He didn't stop after he left for college. He just added the cost of flying back home to his fee.
The big question for me comes back to, where are kids getting this money to give you? Because we're talking about thousands of dollars. And then if you add airfare,
yeah.
Do you know where they were getting the money?
I mean, I can't imagine that like a high school kid would be able to get this kind of money on his own, like from working or something. I don't know. Maybe it came from their parents. I mean, I wasn't really gonna ask them, okay, so where are you getting the money from? But come on, let's put 2 and 2 together.
I've read this, but I want to hear it from you.
Mm-hmm.
You took the SAT for girls.
Correct.
How do you take the SAT for girls?
Like, if the girl has a foreign name that could be perceived as unisex, like a girl could be named Alex, but if she needs me to go and take her SATs under the name Alex, whatever, it's easy as that.
Did you ever take the SAT twice in one weekend?
Yeah, I have done that.
Most people I know are cheating.
You can literally, like, in real time, Google things on your phone.
My grades are so high right now because I'm cheating, straight up.
At home with computers but no teachers, some students are breaking the rules.
I know that a lot of my friends have used Chegg to look up answers.
Now, you may not have heard of Chegg, but most college students have. Here's how it works. I'm pasting into this search bar a question from a chemistry assignment one of the students we spoke to gave to me. That question already right here on the website. Now, Chegg is supposed to help you learn by giving step-by-step solutions. The problem, though, some students are going straight to the answer for a copy and paste. I know nothing about chemistry. I would have just got this right.
I've heard this one saying that they said it's not an ideal learning situation, so why should it be an ideal testing situation?
Nicole Kenny's a graduate student and a TA at Wright State University in Ohio.
Have your students cheated? I definitely know that a few of them, they've used Chegg for answers because the answer's almost word for word from a bunch of other report sheets.
Chegg's subscribers grew by almost 70% last year, and the number of questions posted to the site skyrocketed nearly 200% in 2020 compared to the same period in 2019. And schools are noticing. Last semester, an investigation at Texas A&M found more than 800 cases of academic misconduct after a faculty member realized some students were finishing complex exams online in under a minute. Chegg was one of the online resources used, a university official told NBC. But Chegg isn't the only option. Mizzou freshman Andrew Labbitt says good old-fashioned Google has the answers too.
I know a lot of my friends personally, we're just looking to get the answer and just copy-paste the answer to just get the points.
Which is the version that's cheating, right?
Technically, yeah.
It sounds like I could maybe get 100% on a college calc test right now because I could Google the problem and get the answer. Is that true?
That is very true.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know.
On social media, TikTokers have posted tips on how to get around a school's online proctoring system, which tracks the test taker's activity via webcam. But some are still getting busted.
We catch those things every single day.
ProctorU, one of those services, says it's seen a 700% increase in confirmed test breaches on its platform.
We also see crazy things. We've had people fly drones behind them to try to take pictures of test questions.
We're back now at 7:41, and this morning on the Rawson Reports, the underground world of college cheating. Today, national investigative correspondent Jeff Rawson and his team went undercover to show us how it works. Jeff, good morning.
Hey, Matt, good morning. We are right in the middle of finals season. A lot of kids taking their finals, and in a new survey, 63% of college kids admit to cheating. And these days, it's easier than ever. No more plagiarizing or downloading old papers off the internet. Now, kids are paying strangers for customized papers, original work, fooling even the best professors. So who are these ghostwriters? And are the papers any good? This morning, we're pulling back the curtain with our hidden cameras rolling. This is Taylor, your typical college student, overwhelmed with schoolwork. And she has a new paper due next week.
How are you?
Good, how are you? That's why she's hiring these complete strangers.
How are you?
To write the paper for her.
How does this whole thing work? This is my first time doing this.
I'll just write it up for you, and then I'll bring you a hard copy.
What these guys don't know, Taylor, not her real name, is no college student.
Good afternoon, Today Show.
She's a Today Show staffer, helping us expose just how easy it is to cheat in school without getting caught. Look what we found online. Dozens of ads offering custom papers at competitive rates. One-stop shopping for any cheater. So who are these people helping your kids skate through school? To find out, we set up a scenario teaming up with this English professor. She gave our fake student Taylor an assignment.
The assignment was to write a 5 to 6 page paper on Little Women.
A pretty straightforward English assignment.
Yes, absolutely.
Then we responded to 2 different ads, hiring these faceless ghostwriters to write our paper. With hidden cameras rolling, our fake student Taylor sets up meetings with each of them at a local diner.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
That's Alex. His term paper ad promises a quick turnaround and years of experience.
I can never guarantee an A. I usually guarantee people like a B.
Not bad, but check out this next writer, Pete. His ad brags, above average grade guaranteed while you sleep through class.
Has any student ever gotten caught? That's a huge never.
Because I do it originally written. So what I write, you cannot find online.
Alex says he can write any paper for any class.
Any class?
I wrote like an entire final paper for someone's tech class about how to set up a network system.
Oh my gosh.
So that was a pain because I had to teach myself how to do that and then write the paper on it.
Alex charges $140. Pete's price, $90. And with that, they're off to write our papers. 1 week later,
what do you have for me?
We meet again to get our papers and give them the cash. But this time, when they leave... Hi, Alex. Jeff Rawson from NBC News. I'm outside with some questions. She gave you the book, you read it, you wrote the paper for her. Isn't that cheating?
I mean, she hands it in, that's her business.
He says he tells students the paper should be used as a guide, not handed in verbatim. Look, you're not breaking the law here, but isn't this a question of ethics?
I do find the ethical concern in it, but that's why I always advise people that they have to make their own decisions.
You make no apologies for this?
No.
Alex is happy to stick around and talk. Pete, not so much.
I gotta go.
This is your online ad. Party on the weekend, paper done Monday morning, get well above average grade guaranteed while you sleep through class.
Okay.
Isn't that pretty blatant?
That's not me, actually.
It is you. We responded to the ad. Can you just stay and talk to us for a moment? We want to talk to you about the paper.
I don't want to be on TV.
Ethics aside, we wondered, were their papers any good? We have our professor read them both. She gives Alex a C-. Pete gets a B. So they pass.
Yes, they pass.
Would you have suspected either of these papers of cheating?
No.
As a school official, what can you do to stop this?
I can teach my butt off and make my students want to write me an amazing paper.
She can teach her butt off. Now, some schools are using anti-plagiarism software. Other schools have installed cameras in exam rooms, but educators say, Matt, look, it's tough to catch these cheaters, and they're actually counting on the students themselves to do the right thing.
It's an unbelievable story, Jeff. Thank you very much.
It's hard to imagine how we could screw up higher education any more than we already have. But we're about to if we make student loan forgiveness a reality. There's a Latin phrase that helps explain why. The phrase is cui bono, who benefits. In the case of student loan forgiveness, it's first and foremost the colleges and universities who can charge outrageous tuition largely paid for by student loans. Second, politicians who make cheap promises of debt forgiveness to win votes. And third, students from upper middle class families who would get taxpayers to pay off their student debt. Who doesn't benefit? Everyone else. That includes those who didn't go to college, and a new class of suckers, people who went to college and paid off their student loans. Student loan forgiveness is a reverse Robin Hood. It takes from the poor and gives to the rich. The most obvious argument against forgiving student debt is that no one forced anybody to borrow money for college. Why then should others be forced to pay it off? Before you think I'm going to go all tough love on you, let me say, I have a lot of sympathy for young people who have dug themselves into the student debt hole. I'm one of them. For decades, our society has made the claim that you need a college degree to get ahead in life, and that the smart bet was to take out any amount of loans to ensure a bright future. And if you need help with the tuition, Uncle Sam, the U.S. government, stands at the ready with his generous student loan programs. Just fill out a few forms, and presto, there's a check in your mailbox. You're off to college. But here's the dirty secret. For every dollar of student loan money the government makes available, university tuition goes up by 60 cents. Colleges and universities don't see college loans as a problem. They see a gravy train. Most college administrators may be cowards ready to cave before every politically correct fad, but they're not dumb. If the government is going to loan you money to go to college, they can raise tuition virtually at will. You can afford it, just borrow more. And what do the universities do with all that tuition money? Build more buildings, hire more administrators. Hey, somebody has to pay for all those diversity, equity, and inclusion officers, right? Cui bono. Meanwhile, you stagger out of college with a degree and a boatload of debt to pay off to get the same job and salary that a decade ago didn't require a bachelor's. What a great way to start off your adult life. If you fit that profile, you're very likely to favor student loan forgiveness. And who can blame you? With a simple stroke of a pen, some or all of your debt goes away like it was never there. And the least you can do in return is vote for the politicians who made it possible. At least that's how the politicians see it. Cui bono. But who's going to pay for your good fortune? The taxpayers, of course. The most modest debt relief proposal out there right now, $10,000 per borrower, would cost $300 billion. To wipe it all out, $1.8 trillion. And a lot of those taxpayers will be working class people who didn't go to college, in many cases because they didn't want to take on all the debt. That's why, despite easy student loan access from the government, people in the lower and middle classes make up a smaller percentage of college students than they did 50 years ago. The reality is that loan forgiveness would overwhelmingly benefit the already well-off.
Professors are incentivized to keep their head down, get tenure, get good student evaluations. Students are incentivized, of course, to take the path of least resistance to their high-paying job so that they might begin to pay down the debt they took on in the first place to go to college. Colleges are motivated by rankings, by tuition dollars, by grant dollars. And so you have this perfect storm where professors feel hugely demoralized. They're treating students more like customers than they are students. And at the end of the day, like Joe said, you know, I had a student tell me that she's getting screwed over for not cheating. And, you know, at the same time, I talked to a CUNY professor who said the students are like tyrants, and that he didn't get into academia to be a cop. So it's a pretty dark situation out there.